Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to another edition of Hookup Hints with Scott and Mig. Today, Migsy, we're chatting soft baiting.
We are chatting soft baiting. You've caught some of your biggest snapper on soft baits, eh?
I have indeed, yeah. It's one of the best ways of targeting big snapper. And you, like Mig said, caught some big fish so far doing that. And it basically opens up the door for any other species as well. You're appealing to the predatory instinct of a fish. So it stands to reason that your kingies, blue cod, trevally, anything that's a predator will have a go at a soft bait.
So we still hear from quite a few people that go out soft baiting and struggle and don't catch many fish, but there are a few key elements to soft baiting and we'll show you them today. And the first tip is to leave the bait behind.
And be prepared to target your fish on soft baits for the whole day. That way, you're not going to be tempted into dropping down burley and baits and then changing up the whole game plan. You're going to stick to the softies and that's when you catch your fish.
A nice light little soft bait rod like this here.
Perfect.
Spin combo, you're consistently casting, retrieving with a soft bait.
Okuma Helios. It's a 3000 size, so it's a nice small reel, and it's a nice action on the soft bait rod there. It's a nanomatrix, just give that a bend, Mick. It was a 6 to 10 kilo, heaps of grunt in that rod. You've got a good amount of sensitivity at the tip. You can detect any sort of little bites from a fish, and you're gonna want to react to those bites.
A lot goes on here at the spool end. This is 8 kilo Inferno braid. There's zero stretch in the line, so every little action you're doing with the rod end is also moving the lure as well.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter what depth you're in as well. So you can be at 100 meters, and every little twitch of the rod tip corresponds with the twitch of the soft bait jig head down where it is. So braid, crucial, 100% important. The leader we're using here, we use probably no more than 20, 30 pound at the most of the Black Magic Fluoro, and that's our go-to soft bait leader. 98% of the time you're hooking this fish in the mouth. Shouldn't have any issues with the fish chewing through your trace.
But our go-to, 20 pound. If you're fishing in the rough stuff, 30 pound. And if you're really struggling to get a bite and you just want to drop it down a little bit, 15.
Yep.
So the only 3 we use for soft baiting.
There's a few key components of how to rig these up. Something that is crucial, and that is tying your braid onto your trace without a swivel.
The best thing about this is that you can wind it back through your guides, you can cast it through your guides, you haven't got a swivel that's clanging into the end of your rod when you wind your reel in, because as we said before, you're winding the soft bait in backwards and forwards a lot. So a back-to-back uni knot is very important. If you need to learn how to do that, there are plenty of YouTube videos that will assist you in doing so.
Absolutely.
So you've got your 1.5 meters of fluorocarbon. So no more, you want to be casting off your finger, on your finger touching braid when you're casting. If you've got too much leader, you're not going to be able to cast as far.
So there's plenty of options out there in the soft baits.
The main thing is that you have a variation of different colours, styles and products that will definitely assist in your day's fishing.
That's it. So that there is what we call a paddle tail from Savage. Fairly simple, but also looks very lifelike. We just slide our jig head, push the hook down inside the softie, and then we slide it around, bring it back out the back of the fish, and then push that home like that. And that's basically how it sits. How that's sitting is perfect. The shank of the hook is in line with the barb of the hook. The angles are the same. But if it was back here, like on that sort of angle, that's not ideal. And the other issue we have is when people put it through not enough, and it sort of sits a bit more like that. Pokes out a bit too far the other way.
It's all about getting everything looking as natural as possible with soft baiting. Now tying your jig head on, now you can do a loop knot, that allows it to move that little bit more, but to be fair, we've found the simplest and easiest way is just a uni knot straight onto your jig head. So it's nice and simple, we know that knot's nice and tight, and that soft bait's going to be moving plenty.
Yeah, and it's also, the uni knot's a strong knot as well. All right, so that's the basic rig there, ready to go. So now we're going to chat about areas to target these fish. We're going to, for the purpose of this demo, we're going to chat about snapper mainly.
Yep.
And pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, like we say, you can do it over the sand, around rocky reefs, outcrops, over the deep water, 80 meters. You can still catch some really nice snapper.
So we've got our basic setup here, and now we're going to go about trying to get this down in front of these fish. You do need to be able to cast. It is quite important with soft baiting, and you've got to be drifting as well, Mig.
Yeah, drifting it's a very big part. So drifting is allowing you to cover more ground. It also is allowing that soft bait to swim naturally and all that sort of stuff as well. So soft baits don't work as well at anchor. They do work, but they don't work as well. So you need to drift.
If you find you're drifting too quickly, you can chuck a sea anchor out or a drogue, slow your drift down, allow you to sort of keep up with your jig head. But an important thing is that you want to be able to cast this jig head ahead of you towards where you're drifting, and be prepared as it's descending for the fish to hit on the drop. More often than not, the big fish will hit as that soft bait's dropping. So you've got to be in touch with your line at all times. That's why the braid's important. And you don't want any slack line. Let's say you're fishing in, for an argument, say 20 meters of water, fire out a 20 meter cast. You don't want to be letting that line go drift down, drift down, drift down, drift down. It doesn't hit the bottom until it's behind you. It needs to be hitting the bottom either just ahead of you or in line with when the boat catches up with it. And it's at that point there where we'll probably hook more fish.
Yep.
I mean, you'll catch a lot of big fish on the drop, but you'll catch a lot of fish as it hits the bottom.
Once you've hit the bottom and it's come around the back a little bit, wind back in, another cast. You're consistently moving and casting and letting your line in and out. It's a very active way of fishing.
Once again, we're appealing to the predatory instinct of the fish. So even if they're not hungry, they're probably going to have a crack at it. But you want to try and keep that rod tip nice and low. Reason being is when a fish grabs this soft bait, you need to be able to set that hook. If you're back here and you're twitching your soft bait from back here, and then a fish grabs it, you're going to try and set the hook. You haven't got any of that, the angle's all wrong. The line's down here, you can't set the hook, the fish spits the bait out, swims away, you missed your chance. It doesn't feel like much, it feels like a little bit of a change in the descent of the thing. It might all of a sudden go a bit quicker, or it might all of a sudden go slack. Bang, set that hook as quickly as you can. Because like we say, it's a lure, it's not a piece of bait, so they're not going to continue eating it, they're going to grab it and then spit it back out again.
You do need to make sure you've got a range of different sizes, weights of jig heads. So if you're drifting a bit fast, you can put on a slightly heavier jig head, or if you're not drifting very fast at all and your jig head's getting really quickly to the bottom, then you can change it up and put a slightly lighter one on.
There's a lot more to it than that if you want to really get into it, but as far as giving it a go, first things first, you've got to remember, leave the bait behind. Can't stress that enough.
For sure.
Get drifting, match up some nice lightweight braid with a light soft bait combo, rig your soft bait up so it's looking nice and natural on that hook, mix up your jig heads to suit your depth.
Mix up your softies to suit what the fish are into on the day.
Yep. And more importantly, have some fun and catch some big fish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a goodie. And man, give soft baiting a go. How many people we talk to and they say, oh no, I never tried soft baiting. I mean, which is fair enough. We were the same when we first started out. It was all about bait fishing, bait fishing's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, we've got most of our best fish on bait. But if soft baiting is working, it takes a bit of beating. Here he comes, woohoo! Oh yeah, you can see some big red colour out there, Mig.
Oh yes, I can.
Oh, Mig.
I can do.
Jeez, yes. What's that on my line?
It's just a big air snapper. It's just a big air snapper.
Get the net! Get that thing in the net! Yeah! That's a beast!
Yeah, boy!
On the softie! Yeah! Yes!
Oh, what a
that is a monster!
yeah, man, that's so mean. That's so mean.
Oh yes, that's as good as it gets. Yes.
Oh, shit.
Oh, this guy's got to go close, man.
He's got to go close.
He's got to go close to the magic number.
So fat.
Oh yeah.
So big.
Look at that. Oh, there's some weight there, J-Rock. Yes. Oh, yes.
So good, man. So
Boys.
good. On a soft bait rod.
Oh.
Look at that little softie in his mouth.
Yeah. We got the monster of the Northland.
Finally.
We got the Northland beast. Oh, that's a 20-pound fish, man. That is definitely a 20-pounder.
Yeah.